All right, today's our daily devotional. Actually, my first one. So I wanted to start this because I feel like it's something everyone could use. There's a lot of useful information found in the Bible, obviously, and this kind of like makes it easier just to find certain information. And it's in this book called 101 Devotions for Men. All right, and I think it's really good. There's a lot of stuff in here that really helps. For example, the one I'm doing today is why do I get angry? This is something that's really important. Hold on. Turn this down real quick. There we go. All right. So, first of all, let's just dive in. Let me get my this little pineapple going real quick. It's a little pineapple I got in an arcade. All right. Why do I get angry? Anger is often a reaction to your pride being hurt. When you are confronted, rejected, ignored, or don't get your way, anger acts as a defense mechanism to protect your ego. It is common to feel angry when someone confronts you about your own sinful actions because you don't want others to know what you've done something wrong. When anger begins to well up inside of you, stop and ask yourself, who is really offended in this situation? Is this about God's honor or my pride? Am I acting out of humility or revenge? Confession, forgiveness, and reconciliation will melt your anger away. All right. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his gift. This made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected. Genesis chapter 4, verses 4 through 5. Didn't I tell you? The king of Israel exclaimed to Jehoshaphat. He never prophesies anything but trouble for me. Put this man on in prison and feed him nothing but bread and water. 1 Kings chapter 22, verses 18 and 27. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not bow down to him or show him respect, he was filled with rage. Esther chapter 3, verse 5. All right. There's a lot of information in here. First of all, let's just break it down and go through. Anger is often a reaction to your pride being hurt. That is true. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of times when you get angry, someone says something to you, and you just feel mad because they hurt. You feel like you got hurt. Really, you didn't. Like, a lot of times, I can think of countless times when, honestly, it's just your pride and ego taking over. So, like, someone could say something to you, and really, it's not that offending, but just the fact that, everyone's watching, and you're just, like, in the heat of the moment, you're like, I can't back down to this. I have to say something back. I have to do something about this. I can't let myself look this way. I can't look bad, not do anything back, so you feel like you have to, but really, you don't, all right? If you take your pride aside, a lot of times things aren't worth getting angry over. When you are confronted, rejected, or ignored, or don't get your way, anger acts as a defense mechanism to protect your ego. That is so true. Whenever you're confronted, let's say someone says something like, they say something like, I don't know. They come up to you and be like, hey, you did this, this, and this. Instantly, you want to back yourself up and be like, no, and it escalates things, all right? Next thing, rejected. Someone saying no. Instantly, you want to get mad because you're like, you didn't get your way. So that's another way you can feel angry. Ignored. Someone ignoring you, obviously you get angry over that. So it's all just things that aren't really affecting you. It's just you feel like they should. Okay? It's a common way to feel angry when someone confronts you about your own sinful actions because you don't want others to know that you've done something wrong. This is something that I think is definitely true. For personal experiences, some people might not find a lot. I think in today's day and age, it's different. Like, people aren't going to confront you for saying a curse word, but, like, let's say cheating on somebody is I think that's a big one I can think of, especially in, like, school and stuff, is if, getting confronted for something like that, it's obviously sinful. You can't do that. So some stuff like that could be an example. I think that's not as much as a thing people experience, but it's definitely true. Let me see something real quick. Let's see where we're at. Kind of lost for a second. Okay, when anger begins to well up inside of you, stop and ask yourself, who is really offended in this situation? Is this about God's honor or my pride? Okay, so this is big. When you're angry, is it really you that's being attacked, or is it God? Okay. You can always think and ask this. Everyone knows this. WWJD, what would Jesus do? In a situation when someone says, are you a loser? I know there's just way worse stuff that's said. All right, there'd be some really bad stuff, nasty stuff that's said. I'm just using this as an example. Someone calls you a loser. Is it really that worth getting mad over? Would Jesus do that? Or would he try to talk with the person and try to work things out? He talks about this later in this page, but yeah, that's what it's saying. Is it God that's being offended or is it you? Which obviously he wouldn't get offended, obviously, but what I'm trying to say is like, what's it really targeted at? And a lot of times it's your ego, really the only thing that matters is you in a relationship with God, so if it doesn't get in the way of that, there's no reason to really act out on it. So we go back into this, and so you always ask yourself that. So if someone says something, think, okay, before I say something back, is this more personal to my relationship with God, or is this more personal to me and my pride? To me and my pride, it does not matter. Really does not matter. There's no reason. I think, honestly, 9 times out of 10, whenever in the past, and so I've done this too, everyone said stuff back to people, I later regretted it. Either it's me feeling guilty for the stuff I said, if it's, later on, they keep on harassing me and saying stuff, it's just stuff like that. And other people can probably agree with the same thing, because, doing that and people coming back at you, it just brings a lot of other stuff down the road. Yeah, sure, for maybe like a little while, you're going to be like, the biggest reason is when people are looking, you got to say something back, you feel like. But honestly, a lot of times, if you don't escalate it, not a lot of people have to know about it, and it's a lot better for that than something bad to happen, and you get in a lot more trouble if something crazy happens. So then you go back further on into this, it says, am I acting out of humility or revenge? Confession, forgiveness, and reconciliation will melt your anger away. Okay. I like to think of this as like a 3-stage process: confession, forgiveness, and reconciliation. All right, confession. You say what you did wrong, okay? Most of the time, if there's any sort of argument, it's very rarely 100% one-sided. It could be a 95% their fault, 5% your fault, but it's still, that percent is something your fault. You still did something minor, okay? There's no way someone could constantly go at you if you're not doing anything back. Literally, they can't. There's nothing to fuel their anger. Okay, you did nothing wrong. All right. So you confess. You say what you did wrong. Okay. You say, "Hey, listen. Let's say this is a situation. All right. These are very not like crazy examples, but let's say you stole a pencil from somebody, and then in return, they stole your homework and you failed your assignment. This is like super crazy, super unrealistic. It's just an example, okay? Yeah, what they did was way more serious than you just taking a pencil, but you still took a pencil. So you say, hey man, I'm sorry, I took your pencil, okay? Then you forgive him. You say, I forgive you for taking my paper and my homework. And then you reconciliate, which means you two get together and you forgive each other and you work things out. That is a 3-step process to help, quote unquote, melt your anger away. If you do this, there's nothing to be angry about. You have let go of everything that's making you angry, and you don't want to be angry constantly. Okay? So that's basically all. The big things are, when you're angry, ask yourself, is this affecting my relationship with God, or is this affecting my pride? The answer to that will tell you whether or not it's actually worth even giving attention to. And 90% of the time, it's not worth it. So, and then you do that. Always remember confession, forgiveness, and reconciliation. CFR, make that up. I'm going to coin that. Confession, forgiveness, and reconciliation. All right, that will help things out. And yeah, that's basically it. And then one more thing, actually. Wait. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, that's all. But anyways, that's all I have for today. This is really good information. I think everyone could use this. You could watch this a couple of times over if you need to. Take notes. This is information that's really, really, really important. A lot of people are angry nowadays with how things are. They feel like they have to be. You don't have to be. You don't have to live life angry. All right. So, yeah. Just keep this in mind, and yeah. I hope everyone has an amazing day, and God bless.